Studying in the US is not always what you might expect. There certainly are a bunch of myths, misconceptions that people might not know about before you actually go to study in the US. So in this video, I am joined by Rob from Chai and Coaching. Hi, Rob. And we're going to talk about myths. So if you want to kind of understand the other side of studying in the US, then stay tuned and we're going to uncover some myths which you might not normally know from videos or internet or articles and stuff. And we're going to try to share some of that detailed information. So, hi Rob, can you introduce yourself and let us know what we're going to talk about today?
Sure. Hey everyone, I'm Rob. So nice to be here. I got to meet Nand here in the Dallas area when he was a bachelor student at TCU, but I've actually worked in India for about 8 years, lived in 3 of the big cities, did training and consulting and also some culture exchange with the universities there. I've been very blessed and lucky to been to about 30 different countries around the world. So I love culture and helping people from other cultures work together. And then we came back to the States, we would volunteer, work with the international students here in the Dallas area, and just quickly saw all the struggles and mistakes that they were having. And so to try and help and support, we created the Chai and Coaching channel. We would sit around, drink chai, record videos, and trying to create content to help you guys be more successful here in America, whether it's studying abroad, visas and immigration, adjusting to our weird, crazy American culture, or to land those dream jobs. And today we're going to talk more about some of the study abroad, culture, and job aspects that maybe you think is going to happen, but it's actually way different. And we're going to help tell you the reality so you can be more prepared and have less shock here in the States.
Awesome. Well, let's get straight into the video. What's the first myth, Rob, that you think students usually have when they come to the US?
Yeah, myth number 1 that you guys need to understand is the importance of your college ranking. This is a big question I get with people when trying to, choose where to apply or shortlist those admits. But the US is very different because numbers and ranking are a lot less important, especially compared to Asian countries. Going to a certain college or having your college have a certain ranking does not guarantee you a job, does not guarantee you success. You can go to Harvard and get a 4.0, does not mean you're going to get a job. I would say if you get into like a top 5 to 10 university, maybe that's going to help, or some of the brand recognition and maybe the alumni network. But after that, like the next top 150, 200 colleges are all great. They're all amazing. And so really it's about what you make of your experience, which is where your success is going to come from, not about the name or the ranking of the college. And if you want to choose a factor to choose the right place to go, my advice is more about choose the degree program ranking is more important than the college ranking, because that's where you're going to get the most impact. That's the professors, that is the experience, the classes, the exposure. So I would say focus on degree program ranking more than the college ranking in your decision process.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing that. Now, as we talk about the rankings of the college, to get into these universities, you need to also get the highest grades possible or something. So what's the second myth, Rob, about?
So I would say a lot of people believe that they need a perfect GPA. In America, it's on a 4 scale, so 4.0, whether it's to get an admit or once you're studying here, you need that 4.0 to get a job. But again, the admissions process here in America is very holistic. It's not just based on your GPA, but it's on your test scores, on letters of recommendation, SOPs, English score. So many things go into your admit. So it's not just about the GPA. If you have a medium or low GPA, that can be buffered with other things. And same as with the job. In America, once you graduate, nobody cares about your GPA. Nobody asks about your GPA. GPA doesn't guarantee you a job. For international students, I think you at least need to have like a 3.0 to maintain your status at a lot of the universities if you're F1 student. But if you get a 3.5 or above, that's great. You don't need straight A's. If you get a couple B's, if you get a random C in there and you still got a 3.5 or above, you're going to be fine. Again, the hiring managers, the companies, they don't care that you got a 4.0. So don't stress and waste all that time trying to get perfect grades. Spend your energy and your time in better ways outside the classroom, maximizing your experience. Again, building a holistic profile, be active outside the class, get involved, do leadership, do networking, do projects. All those things are going to help you get a job more than your GPA.
Most certainly. And when you're applying for some of these jobs, the application itself automatically says that we need a minimum of 3.5. A lot of these companies are actually putting your resume through AI detection softwares. And if your GPA part of the PDF of your resume matches their requirement, then that's automatically like a check mark, like you have achieved that point. Putting all the extra energy doesn't really guarantee you that success. What's myth number 3, Rob?
Yeah, is the idea of job placements after graduation. I know that in India and other Asian countries, corporate job placements happen, but the US is not like that. Again, in South Asia, it's all about the number. If you get that number, that grade, that ranking, big companies will come in, TCS will come hire a few hundred people, Wipro will come hire a few hundred people, Reliance will come hire few hundred people. And these college, placements happen because you got the right score, the right GPA. But America is not like that. They are not coming to scoop up the top ranked students. Job search is all about you. It's your responsibility. And I think students, when they get to America, they're actually kind of disappointed at how little help they get from the colleges to get a job. You're going to get basic resources. They'll help you format your resume and maybe teach you about how to make a little bit better of a LinkedIn profile. Maybe give you a mock interview, which those are all helpful things, but you're really on your own. And so you have to do the job applications, you have to do the interviews, you have to do the networking. Those things are all up to you. So jobs just don't fall into your lap. So again, America is a very independent individual culture. And so it's going to be up to you to get that job, and you need to have the right mentality, because job search starts from day one. Not 1 year later, not when you graduate, but day one, you got to be doing these things to be prepared, to stand out, so that you can be in the right place and have the right profile to get the job, because they're not going to come pick you because of your grades.
And some of these companies actually start their recruitment process 1 year in advance. And more than 6 months before you even graduate. Most companies have already selected who they're hiring. They've started the immigration process and stuff. And if you start looking for a job closer to when you're about to graduate, you're already too late. Starts from talking to your seniors. That would probably be the easiest way to start. Before you go on any website, before you talk to companies or counselors, talk to your seniors who have just gone through this and understand what mistakes they just made in their job finding process.
Yeah, learn from them, definitely. Most big companies in America, Fortune 500, Fortune 100, they do the recruiting in the fall semesters. So if you come in the fall, a month or two into your university here, that's when companies are recruiting for summer internships and post-graduation jobs. So if you're not ready that fall semester with a resume to go to job fairs, to apply to jobs, you're going to miss out. So you got to know the hiring schedules, when recruiters are active, so you don't miss out and get left behind.
And just to be clear, that's for masters. A lot of my followers are for bachelors as well. So for bachelors, it would start in your third year. That's actually one of the things that I tell bachelor students, is that they have a little bit of a leeway because they have the first 2 years to kind of enjoy themselves, get to know the American culture. It's a little bit rare to do like important internships and stuff in the first 1 or 2 years. So you have a little more time, but from the third year is when you kind of start getting into things for your bachelor's. And not to mention, for both masters and for bachelors, that summer internship is extremely important, because most of my friends and most of the people that I know actually end up getting a full-time job from the same company where they did that summer internship before they graduated. So that summer internship is what should be your goal, even before you think about a full-time job later. That summer internship, because 80% of the time that same company will end up giving you a full-time job, and you will not even have to look for a full-time job after that.
Yeah, totally agree.
Awesome. That was myth number 3. So let's get into 4. What's the 4th one, Rob?
Okay. Fourth big myth is assuming America will be easy. Think about, what is your favorite TV show or movie from America? I'd love to hear in the comments. Tell us in the comments, what's your favorite TV show? What's your favorite movie? Are you a fan of The Office, Friends, Big Bang Theory, whatever sitcom you watch or whatever movie, or you're a Marvel fan, a Harry Potter fan, what do you love? And typically people watch media from America and think life in America is going to be like that. But I say, is life in India like a Bollywood movie? Whenever it rains, are people out in the street, dancing, just like life in India is not like a Bollywood movie, life in America is not like a Hollywood movie. Or maybe you have, the friends or family here in America and you see their Instagram posts, going out to brunch on the weekends, traveling to national parks, all the, driving nice cars, all that stuff, the Instagram life. But again, it's not going to be like that. America is really hard. And whenever you map out cultures around the world, the USA and South Asia, India, Pakistan, Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, those cultures are the most opposite in the world, the most different. One culture is not better than the other. They're just different, bahut alag alag, very, very different. Well, most of Asian culture is very communal, how you help each other, collectivistic. America is super independent and individual. We're the most individual culture in the world. So we're very DIY. And so do it yourself, and which is a huge, hard thing for people coming from Asia. Because students, not only do you have to learn a whole new academic program and learning process and a whole different way to get a job, like we talked about, we also have to learn to clean. You have to learn to do your laundry, how to shop for groceries, how to cook your meals, pay your bills, manage your money on a tight budget. And that is a lot to take in all at once, learn, juggle, balance. This results in a lot of culture shock, homesickness. There's a lot of competition, lots of international students here in America, plus all the Americans who are also, here looking for jobs, and so you've got, competition in your home country applying for these universities. You've got competition here in the job search, and, you're not guaranteed a job. I know that's the goal. That is the pressure point for you guys coming to America, but you are not guaranteed a job. It is hard work. Many students will have 500, 800, 1,200 job applications that all get rejected. And that, becomes a burden, and you feel that. So there's a lot of students that come here and they struggle. They get depression. They have mental health challenges, and it's not what they expected. It can be amazing, and a lot of my friends do have amazing experiences, but it's so important to know it's going to be harder than you think, and you need to mentally prepare yourself so that it doesn't, smack you in the face, after that first semester, you're like, what is happening? Nand, did you face any of that culture shock or homesickness in your journey?
I think I did not face it in the first 1 year. I felt it in my second year for some reason.
Okay.
The first year I was here for bachelor, so I was in the US total for 5 years. The first 1 year I was just so excited to be out of home, to live an independent life and stuff. So the first 1 year I was actually in that excitement mode. But
honeymoon
the second
phase.
year, the honeymoon phase, and the second year is when it hit me really hard with a bunch of things. But the funny part is that to make yourself feel comfortable and feel home, you actually try to make friends from your culture, from your country. But very soon you realize that you only have friends from your country halfway around the world. That actually brings us to the fifth myth, how to make friends with Americans.
Yeah, our final myth is kind of maybe beliefs or stereotypes about Americans and when foreigners come here. And I think, the projection that maybe gets kind of shown in media or stereotypes is, maybe people think or assume that Americans are not very friendly. Americans are very proud, boastful, we think we're the best, hoorah, rah, whatever. Americans kind of project that and maybe kind of don't seem very friendly. But on the flip side, I would say most international students, like Nand said, when they come here, they stay in their cultural bubbles. My Indian student friends, all their roommates are Indians. As master students, most of their classmates are Indians, and they even have Indian professors. So, they're paying thousands of dollars to go across the world, to still live and study in India. And I'm like, is that really what this experience is supposed to be about? But most of them, if they, do get the experience, they're kind of shocked to find that Americans actually are pretty friendly. They want to connect. They want to be helpful. America is very diverse. Americans are very welcoming. I know that in the media right now with immigration and Trump and deportations, there's kind of this unfortunate rhetoric against immigrants, but that's again more towards people breaking the law and coming in illegally. But again, most Americans, especially in big cities, are so diverse, and there's many Americans from other cultural backgrounds. And so I think it's never good to assume that Americans don't want to be your friends, but you have to be the one to make the effort because you're the guest, you're the foreigner, you're the new person in the country. And so you need to kind of step out of your bubble and integrate and engage in America with Americans. And so I think a big thing to really walk away with is success in studying abroad is based on friendships with Americans. If all your friends as a student in America are people from your country and your culture, it is going to be really hard to thrive in America. And even more importantly, success in your job search is based on friendships with American professionals. The myth a lot of students believe is, I'm going to get a job based on the number of applications I fill out. More applications means more job offers. And that's not true, because applying online is the worst way to get a job. Networking, friendships, and referrals is the best way to get a job. So if you want a job, you have to have friends with Americans, especially who are professionals. And so you have to be the one to make the effort, step out of the bubble. I know, Nand, you did a great job of this, making friends with other students. It's definitely easier as a bachelor student, maybe compared to master's and PhD, but learning from other cultures, try and do projects in your classes, with people from other cultures. Try and join clubs, fun clubs or technical clubs on campus with people from other cultures. Get that experience, and that's going to make you a more well-rounded global person, and then that'll make you more successful and hireable in America as well.
Yeah. I would like to bring up a point here is that sometimes I realize that Indian students, especially Indian students, because we already have so many Indians in the US right now, and most of them are pretty successful. They have good jobs, they have good offers, and now these people are actually the bosses, so they are trying to hire other people, so most Indians think that they can easily be comfortable around the senior bosses to be able to get this job, so they don't really need to maybe make new American friends, because anyway the bosses are going to be Indians. Now that's not true. I have told so many people in the last few years that at the end of the day, Indians are just a percentage of the American population. America is still American. There are Americans that are going to be interviewing you. There is a lot of other companies in the US that are actually run by Americans, and Indians might be a big part of the IT industry or the software industry. But at the end of the day, there's a bunch of other industries that also have the same software positions open, So we really need to kind of have this open mind of having these friends, and all these friendships is what actually makes you adapt to the culture. Having American friends in college will help you learn more about their culture, understand the humor, a bunch of these things, make you comfortable in talking to Americans. And this is also something that will help you for your interviews for the jobs. So everything kind of comes together at the end of the day, and you're there for international experience. So I hope that all of you are able to just go ahead and say that hi. Everything starts with a hi, right? So in the gym, in the classes, everything starts with a hi. And Americans, I've found them to be very, very helpful and welcoming all the time. So thank you so much, Rob. Would you like to add anything else?
Yeah, I'd say friends who are watching, if there's any other myths, anything we've missed, tell us in the comments. We'd love to hear your experience, what you thought was something, but then maybe different in America. We'd love to hear that feedback in the comments on this video. And if you want more help in your journey, on the Chai Coaching YouTube channel, we have a lot of great resources to help you study abroad and get jobs here in America. You can also follow on Instagram, LinkedIn, and get our e-newsletter that goes out every week with a lot of great resources. And again, make sure you guys are following, subscribe to Nand as well, because he puts out a lot of great content too.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rob, and thank you guys for watching. Get in touch with him, get in touch with me, and I'll see you in my next video. Okay, bye.